Welcome to College Briefing. The content of the briefing includes: star mathematician leaves US for China. US billionaire to check MIT faculty for plagiarism amid wife's copying row. China's rural women struggle for land rights, despite legal protections. LSU hires Missouri D coordinator Baker on 3-year deal worth $2.5 million annually, AP source says. University of Utah president says diversity statements will no longer be used in hiring. Star mathematician leaves US for China. South China Morning Post. Sun Song, a Chinese-born mathematician who previously worked as a professor at the University of California, Berkeley, has joined Zhejiang University in China as a full-time professor. Sun has received numerous awards for his work in differential geometry and is considered a strong candidate for the Fields Medal, the highest honor in mathematics. His appointment at Zhejiang University is part of the institution's efforts to build itself into a world-class mathematics center. The university is inviting talented mathematicians from around the world to join its cause. US billionaire to check MIT faculty for plagiarism amid wife's copying row. South China Morning Post. Billionaire Bill Ackman has said he will investigate all current faculty members at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, for plagiarism following accusations against his wife, Neri Oxman. Oxman was accused of lifting paragraphs without citation for her dissertation at MIT. Ackman said all faculty members, including the president and board members, will be subject to checks using MIT's own plagiarism standards. He added that the findings will be shared in the public domain. Ackman has been a vocal critic of university presidents over their response to calls for genocide against Jews and allegations of plagiarism. China's rural women struggle for land rights, despite legal protections. South China Morning Post. Women in China are finding themselves deprived of land rights and other benefits due to vague laws and male-dominated village assemblies. Traditional notions in China's rural areas often hold that women are considered to be thrown away water when they marry, while it is the men who stay inside the clan and carry on the family name. Many women have a hard time fighting legal battles because the laws are unclear and courts often dismiss their cases. Chinese law dictates that members of a rural collective economic organization can enjoy certain privileges, such as land rights and dividends, but there is no clear definition of what qualifies as being a member. The concept of village autonomy is often used to decide issues related to women's rights, even though gender equality is enshrined in China's constitution. Despite various legal documents on equality for women, they are often ignored in practice. Women like Zhou Xiaoyu are raising awareness about the lack of legal rights for women in China, hoping to bring about change. LSU hires Missouri D coordinator Baker on 3-year deal worth $2.5 million annually, AP source says. Associated Press. LSU has hired Blake Baker, former Missouri defensive coordinator, to lead its defense. Baker has signed a 3-year contract worth $2.5 million annually, making him the highest-paid assistant coach in the country. He replaces Matt House, who was fired along with 3 other defensive assistants. Baker previously served as linebackers coach at LSU in 2021 but was not retained when head coach Brian Kelly took over. During his 2 seasons as Missouri's defensive coordinator, Baker helped improve the team's defense, which ranked 6th in the SEC in yards per play. He has also served as defensive coordinator at Louisiana Tech and Miami. University of Utah president says diversity statements will no longer be used in hiring. Yahoo! The University of Utah is to cease using diversity statements or questions in its hiring practices. President Taylor Randall said in a statement that the university had been directed to do so by the state's Board of Higher Education and that all hiring units at the university should discontinue the use of any type of diversity statements or similar practices as part of their unit-level applicant or employee hiring processes. Randall's decision comes as university administrators across the country are under fire for what some see as illiberal behavior on college campuses brought on by diversity, equity and inclusion (DEI) programs. Brink has 20 points, 18 rebounds as number 8 Stanford women beat Washington State 74-65. Associated Press. Stanford's Cameron Brink scored 20 points and 18 rebounds as the Cardinal beat Washington State 74-65. Stanford remains undefeated against the Cougars, winning for the 73rd consecutive time since their first meeting in 1983. Big Boys John Pointing, football, rugby, banter, you do what you can as a teenager to fit in. Telegraph. Actor John Pointing discusses his role in the 2nd season of Jack Rook's sitcom Big Boys. The show is based on Rook's experience of coming out as gay at university and highlights the importance of supportive straight friends. Rook says he had to fight to get the show commissioned because TV executives didn't believe that gay men had straight friends. Pointing plays Danny, the straight best friend of the nerdy gay hero. Underneath his confident facade, Danny is struggling with depression, a storyline based on Rook's own experience of meeting men who appeared confident and uncomplicated but were actually dealing with mental health issues. Pointing, who grew up in a working-class family, says he always thought acting was a realistic ambition because his mother took him to galleries and smaller theaters. However, he attended a poor high school where he received no guidance on higher education and ended up doing a drama degree at a university with poor tutors. Pointing is currently starring in other TV shows and ads for Weetabix on the go. Rutgers Stanley Dennis too received an offer from Sacred Heart University. Yahoo! Former Rutgers football defensive lineman Stanley Dennis too has received an offer from Sacred Heart University. Dennis entered the transfer portal in December and has 2 years of eligibility remaining. He played well in the spring game for Rutgers, but did not see much playing time during the regular season. In addition to interest from Rutgers, Dennis also received interest from the University of Massachusetts during his recruitment year. Sacred Heart finished with a 2-9 record last season. To plead or not to plead? That is the question for hundreds of Capitol riot defendants. The Toronto Star. Capitol rioters who accepted the charges against them and pleaded guilty have received more lenient sentences, according to an analysis of court records by the Associated Press. The data also showed that those who contested their charges received longer sentences than those who admitted guilt. Over 700 defendants have pleaded guilty to federal charges related to the January 6, 2021 Capitol attack, with over 150 opting for a trial decided by a judge or jury. The average prison sentence for those convicted at trial was roughly 2 years longer than those who pleaded guilty to a felony. Defense lawyers have complained about the trial tax, a longer sentence imposed on those who refuse plea deals. In the federal justice system overall, almost 98% of convictions in 2020 were the result of a guilty plea. Advocates for reform argue that plea bargaining can be coercive and can push innocent people to accept a deal for fear of lengthy prison sentences if they go to trial. Number 2 UCLA routs Oregon 75-49 to stay undefeated at 13-0 behind Angela DeGallic's 17 points. The Toronto Star. Angela DeGallic, who scored a career-high 17 points against her former team, led number 2 UCLA to a 75-49 victory over Oregon. The Bruins clamped down defensively to shut down the Ducks, dominating the boards 46-27, including a 21-1 advantage on the offensive glass. DeGallic also had 9 rebounds, while Kiki Rice contributed 11 points, 10 assists, and 7 rebounds for UCLA. Philippina Kai led Oregon with 14 points and 7 rebounds. Grace Van Slooten, the Ducks' leading scorer, was held to 9 points. Past, present and future? Uniforms of the UNM Lobos. Yahoo! The University of New Mexico Lobos unveiled new uniforms for a game on Saturday, featuring the red Zia symbol and the gold color from the New Mexico flag. The jerseys were designed to celebrate the state's anniversary of becoming a state on January 6, 1912. In light of this, the article also explores past uniforms and speculates on what artificial intelligence predicts for UNM jerseys in 2050. Weekend time schedule. Associated Press. This article lists the schedule of sporting events for Saturday, January 6 and Sunday, January 7. It includes NFL games, NBA games, NHL games, college basketball games, and other events such as golf and tennis tournaments. The article provides the times and matchups for each event. Ozempic, other semaglutide-based drugs not linked to increase in suicidal thoughts, U.S. study finds. ABC. A U.S. study has found no evidence that using diabetes and weight loss drug semaglutide leads to an increase in suicidal thoughts. The study analyzed medical data from over 1.8 million patients to determine the effect semaglutide, the active ingredient in Novo Nordisk's Ozempic, has on mental health. Another drug, Wegovy, which also contains semaglutide, was also analyzed. The study's findings could help to allay concerns about the mental health impact of the drugs. A Reuters review found that the U.S. Food and Drug Administration had received 265 reports of suicidal thoughts or behavior. Florida State Soccer's Onye Echegini wins program's 4th Mac Hermann Trophy. Yahoo! Onye Echegini, a forward for the Florida State women's soccer team, has been named the winner of the Mac Hermann Trophy, making her the best player in college soccer. This is the 4th time a player from Florida State has won the prestigious award. Echegini had an outstanding season, winning the ACC Offensive Player of the Year award and being named the ACC Tournament MVP. She scored 16 goals and had 5 assists in 21 games, leading the ACC in goals and helping her team win the national championship. Echegini also had success on the international stage, representing Nigeria in the 2023 FIFA World Cup and recently signing a professional contract with Juventus Women in Italy. WSU star safety Jaden Hicks declares for 2024 NFL Draft. Yahoo! Washington State University, WSU, safety Jaden Hicks will declare for the National Football League, NFL, Draft, foregoing his final years of college eligibility. Hicks was a standout player last season, with 76 tackles, 2 interceptions, 4 pass breakups, and 3 sacks. His departure is a blow for WSU, which also recently lost quarterback Kem Ward to the draft. Several players have been named as candidates to replace Hicks, including Reese Sylvester, Tanner Moku, Ko Padu, Tyson Weaver, and Adrian Wilson. That's all the news for today, folks. As always, I'm your resident 6 doctor, bringing you the latest updates from the fascinating world of 6 degrees. Let's quickly recap what we've learned today. First, we have the exciting news of renowned mathematician Sun Song leaving the US to join Zhejiang University in China. This move is part of the university's efforts to become a world-class mathematics center. Then, we have billionaire Bill Ackman vowing to investigate MIT faculty for plagiarism, following accusations against his wife. China's rural women are still struggling for land rights despite legal protections, highlighting the challenges they face in a male-dominated society. Switching gears, LSU has hired Blake Baker as its new defensive coordinator on a hefty contract, making him the highest-paid assistant coach in the country. The University of Utah has announced that it will no longer use diversity statements in its hiring process, a decision that has sparked debate on college campuses. In sports news, Stanford's women's basketball team continues their winning streak with a victory over Washington State, and UCLA dominates against Oregon. And finally, we have an interesting discussion about the importance of straight allies in the LGBTQ+ community, as highlighted in the TV show Big Boys. Now, let's dive into some analysis. Sun Song's move to Zhejiang University reflects the growing trend of top talents being drawn back to China, thanks to its increasing investment in education and research. It's a clear sign that China is making significant strides in establishing itself as a scientific powerhouse. As for the plagiarism investigation at MIT, it's a reminder that no one is above scrutiny, regardless of their wealth or influence. It also raises important questions about academic integrity and the need for universities to maintain rigorous standards. The struggles faced by rural women in China shed light on the deep-rooted gender inequalities that persist in certain parts of the country. While there are legal protections in place, the lack of clear definitions and the prevalence of outdated cultural norms make it difficult for women to assert their rights. This issue calls for a comprehensive approach that combines legal reforms, education, and awareness campaigns to bring about lasting change. Moving on to sports news, the hiring of Blake Baker as LSU's defensive coordinator highlights the fierce competition for top coaching talent in college football. The astronomical salary offered to Baker is a testament to the importance placed on building a strong coaching staff. Meanwhile, the decision by the University of Utah to discontinue the use of diversity statements in hiring raises important questions about the role of diversity in academia. While diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts are crucial, it's essential to strike a balance that allows for open dialogue and intellectual diversity. Lastly, the TV show Big Boys brings to the forefront the significance of straight allies in the LGBTQ+ community. The representation of supportive straight friends is a reminder that acceptance and understanding can come from unexpected places. It's a heartwarming message that challenges stereotypes and promotes inclusivity. And now, it's your turn. What are your thoughts on today's news? Do you have any questions or comments? I'm here to engage with you, so don't hesitate to join the conversation. Let's keep the 6 degrees spirit alive and thriving. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.